All right. Everyone who wasn't here, we didn't play a game, have snacks, or give out gift cards or anything like that. What? So listen, so tonight I really, we haven't been together like like trying to pull the whole ministry together as a whole in a long time. And you'd be surprised. I mean, like, our team is twice as big as what you see here, maybe close to 3 times as big as actually what you actually see in the room. We have a huge team, especially when you start pulling in a lot of Emily's team who is even behind the scenes, whether it be like photographers or your online moderators, things of that nature. Our team has really, really grown over the last 2 years. And so I wanted to do this, and so I hope that even though not everyone's here, as you continue to see people, we have new people in tech, we have new people on stage. Introduce yourself, make them feel welcome. That is one thing that our church has always been known for, and our ministry has always been known for, is making people feel like they truly are a part, like they have a place. And this is like, as the 2 ways that our church is really telling people, like, if you want to get to know people, get in a life group and or get connected to a ministry. So be looking out for those people. But quickly, I wanted to take a look. I wanted to take a look back. This is fine. Everything's fine. I practiced all this, and I even tried it all out. Stupid Adobe Flash. Update. There we go. So taking a look back, so since the beginning of this ministry, so Sarah and I just celebrated being here for a little over 10 years now, which is awesome. Yeah, thank you. And thank you guys all for the great notes and cards and everything. But truly, since the beginning of the ministry, we've always strived to redeem all the arts in our worship times on Sunday. And so if you haven't been here for the last, only have you joined over the last couple of years, when we went through our name change as a church from Life Point to the Refinery, we changed the name of our ministry as well. I just felt like Redemptive Arts was always a touch clunky. I liked it at times, and I didn't like it at times. So we went to the Refinery Creative just because we felt like it encompassed a little bit more of who we were. But truly, the purpose behind Redemptive Arts, it's kind of getting over this stigma. When people hear worship, they just think music. Well, music is just one avenue that we use to worship, and you guys all know this now. But as we have new people coming in, as we explain it to the church, we really want to just knock down the stigma of like worship is music, which that is like only 10% correct, I feel like. But it's really cool. We used to do a ton of stuff with stage design and all those things, and it was a really neat. That's really how Emily and I got to know each other really well, and really how Amanda got very plugged in, and Lisa Webb, I remember her helping out with some things. But as we look back, I'm so proud of the way that we have always, as we've grown, like back in this time, we were super raw. Our worship times were, not that they aren't now, but I feel like our worship times were a little bit more raw at times because we didn't have a ton at our disposal. We weren't using Click, like half of us had in-ears and things of that nature. So we made our own drum cage, and then Corey stepped through it and all the, do you remember that night? That was a good night. Yeah. But yeah, so this, if you don't catch, this is in the Harnack Center. This picture is over in the Harnack Center. It's just really neat to look back at where we've come. The ministry, when I first started, was about, like, I think including tech, was about 10 people. And within like 3 weeks, it was like 6 people, and that includes tech. And I always told Brad, I'm like, I'm surprised you didn't just let me go, because like half the ministry left after I got here. But it was cool. We brought everything back up from the ground up. We built the ministry as a church, as a ministry. We've built the ministry back up, and it's just really neat to see what God's done as we've remained faithful to just loving and worshiping Him. So looking ahead, yeah, we are the Refinery Creative, and we want to continue to find ways to plug people in. This was kind of comical because I was cleaning things out, and I was like, I'm just going to get a couple more things out, and because it's a small representation of who we are as a ministry. I love the fact that because of COVID and because of just schedules and stuff, we've kind of on stage we've been going back and forth from like full band to just keys and acoustic. And this last week with it's cool to have John on the stand-up bass and the cajon out and things of that nature. People love the fact that we are not just trying to be cookie cutter. They don't know maybe week to week that we're just doing what we can to supply, without just being myself and singers. Because we have people serving in so many different other ministries as well, all those things. But I love the fact that people come in and they have said, like, I don't know what to expect week to week, and I love that. And I love that people are still worshiping. I feel like it'd be easy for people to just kind of rely on the emotion of the full band, of all the lights on or whatever it is, right? I think that we are doing as a ministry, and I mean this in tech and wherever you serve, what we're doing is really neat because we're encouraging people to worship in spirit and in truth, the way that God created them to, no matter what the music does or no matter what, how big or how big the lighting schemes may be or how minimal they are. We're saying just worship God. It doesn't matter what's happening. We should be able to just worship the Lord, and that's kind of been a mantra of ours. If the lights go out, if the sound goes out, if we lose power or whatever, then we have a cappella, or we just grab our acoustic guitar and we keep going, right? Because we love what we do with full band and full lighting and sound and everything. But at the end of the day, those are just cool tools that we get to use to worship God. And as we continue to look ahead, like I really want prayer and the rawness of our worship times to continue to be a focal point of who we are. So I love the fact, and talking just to our singers and band, like I love the fact that we moved 3 years ago to using Click, and we have, for 80% of our stuff we use tracks and, the little man telling us where to go next. And I love that, but I also don't want to lose. I also think that there are times where we maybe lose a little bit of the possibility of where the Holy Spirit may want to lead us, and we do at the end of songs. We can take time to kind of pause and see what God may be doing in the room, but sometimes I feel like that takes away from that. And so, I want to, as a leader, and I'm going to encourage our worship leaders. Hey, let's continue to find ways to kind of do both. I forget what's the new song that we did from Hillsong that you suggested? Yeah, 1,000 Hallelujahs. We're only running Click on that. And I love, when we did it, I was like, it may feel a little empty. It doesn't, I didn't, one, and two, it did give us the opportunity, as we were doing it the second time, to kind of, let's just go back into that chorus, or let's just sit here for a little bit. And so I want to continue, I want to go back to that a little bit as well. So that's kind of like an FY, but also in prayer, and I want, as we look ahead, Night of Prayer is the first Wednesday of each month. And so I want to preface this by saying I'm not going to be taking like roster or anything like, come March 3rd on who's here and who's not. I just want, this is the only time, or if nothing else, I'll probably put it at the beginning of like emails and stuff like that for the month. Like, hey, don't forget March 3rd, or hey, don't forget April 5th, or whatever it is. But if you can make Night of Prayer, I encourage you to do so. I would love for Night of Prayer to be well represented by our ministry, because we were a ministry that was founded on prayer. Prayer was always so vital, and a church, really, right? But just talking about our ministry. And I don't think that we have lost that. I just think that I want it to come back to being a focal point of who we are. Whether you are taking pictures, whether you are moderating in the tech booth or on stage, let's continue to make prayer a central point of who we are as an individual and who we are as a ministry. You've hopefully noticed, like, we kind of got away from, like, after rehearsal was done, just kind of, high-fiving and getting out of here. I really want to take that time. We always said, hey, if it's 8:30 or whatever and we don't get to that last song, I'd rather pray and then run that last song if people have to go, or that sort of thing. I'd rather spend time, lifting each other up in prayer, that sort of thing. So those are two focal points of looking ahead. But for this year, I have three main points of focus. And so feel free to write them down. Feel free to not write them down. But they're going to be spiritual growth, skill development, and consistency. Those are the three main things that so I want you to know this starts with me. When Landon and I were talking about personal things of looking back at 2021, looking forward to 2022 in my year in review stuff, these were essentially the questions he was asking me. What do you want for you, like for your life? And those were personal things. I changed the wording a little bit, but truly now. But then, so from me down, I want those three things: spiritual growth, skill development, and consistency to be the three main focal points of our ministry this year. So what that looks like: spiritual growth. I'm going to start our dream and ideas. We're going to come to this for everyone who has something they want to share. And hopefully, some of you guys brought some things to share, as little or big as they may be. But the first thing I'm going to put up here, so these dreams and ideas are things that don't share your idea unless you plan on at least helping in some way. So, I don't know what that looks. I don't know of like an idea that I would throw out that I would not have like a plan in or whatever, but because it's easy to just be like, hey, you should, something I've always dreamed about. Hey, we should do like a Refinery like album. All right, good luck. Like that sort of thing. Like, okay, no, I need help. Like I can't do this by myself. So this is one that hopefully this is going to pique some interest. Is a Refinery Creative. I think I'd like to start it by doing quarterly newsletter. So my point in this is a 1 or 2 page thing that would go out to the entirety of the Refinery Creative ministry that would have devotions either written by, my plan would be devotions written in-house. Share what's coming up, obviously, but also share what are we listening to. So like, we can put up a playlist, or we can have like a spotlight of Jordan saying like, hey, this CeCe Winans song that I've shared with you twice. I know. Listen, I haven't forgotten, okay? But yeah, it's a great song. But saying like, here's a song, but literally something like that, like a spotlight. So maybe one month it would be a spotlight. Jordan saying, here's a song that's really spoken to me. Here's why, right? And we can post that song in the newsletter as well. Or maybe it's something from your creative team, like, hey, we went to this Scott the Painter thing, and this was really moving for us, whatever it is, right? I think it'd be a really cool way for us to share Spotlight. I think it'd be a cool way to also share, a practice technique, and like, here's what I do, or things of that nature. I think it could be unlimited, and I don't want to like put it in a box tonight. And so if that is something that you would be interested in helping with, then let me know. And I'll probably be putting these things in my next email out to the whole ministry, saying, here are some of the things that were on our board. Who's interested in helping? I shared Night of Prayer. The other thing is relaunching. So for some of you, you're going to say, I don't know what you're talking about. For some of you, be like, oh yeah, I forgot we did that. This kind of faltered because of me, and so this is going to be a point of emphasis on me, is relaunching our leadership tree. So this leadership tree concept was that if we had, let's say, just 8 leaders who would, so the kind of natural things are, we have, which we'll go over teams in a minute, but we have Tim on video, Tim on audio, Deanna on lights, and Eric on computer. Your teams would be under you, right? So monthly, I check in with you. How are you doing? How's your team doing? Do you need anything? Is there any of your teammates that need anything from me? Maybe share a devotional that you can then share with them. So that each month, and then so on and so on, right? So we had I remember like Jordan had like some singers under her, maybe some keyboards, whatever it was. So we had like 8 people or so that had 6 people under them, just so people felt like they were supported, like they had somebody. Because I know that as we've grown, I have not been as accessible to everyone as maybe I used to be. And number 2, I'm definitely not as accessible to women as I am to men. So this was a way to kind of to figure that out and like, okay, how, but at the same time, just because, like, just if Corey, if you're under Tim's ministry, doesn't mean that you can't then text me and say, hey, will you pray for me this? Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Like, this is not taking me away from anyone, but it's just saying, like, if you have immediate need for audio or immediate need as a singer, literally, like, hey, I have a vocal question, you can go to that person. If they don't know, they're just going to send you to me as well. But I just want to make sure that people feel like they have somebody even a little bit closer. And so we're kind of creating these monthly hubs as well. I don't see it as a life group like where you're getting together. You definitely can. I see it more as like a text thread of like, hey, just monthly check-in, just want to see how you guys are doing. Any questions, any prayer requests, that sort of thing. So that is a way, that's going to be a big way that I want to see spiritual growth. And I'm going to continue what I want to do to those leaders to give to you are some devotionals, hey, some check-ins like, hey, how are you doing with some of your spiritual disciplines, right? Are you spending time reading? Are you spending time in prayer? Are you worshiping? Those sort of things. But that's going to start with me, and I'll be touching base with those leaders, and then they'll probably be touching base with everybody that's in their group. Second one is skill development. Number one, and so this is really talking first and foremost to our singers and our band, but I'll talk beyond that scope in just a second. Is making practice a priority. Again, I'm starting with myself. There are weeks that that I don't need to practice. Like, I know the songs really well, and there have been weeks in the past that I've done. Like, I've just done Thursday. I pulled the music, and Thursday right before rehearsal, or not even that, just showed up and made it happen because I know the songs or whatever, right? But if I want you guys to be practicing, as we have new people onboarding, we want them to be practicing, right? Well, then I want to make sure that I'm showcasing that myself. Spending time practicing whether I know the songs really well, and then obviously if I don't, doing that. Something I know that nobody really wants me to call them out, but something I really appreciate is Aaron, when he's on, especially if he's playing like banjo, it seems like I get all these videos, hey, check this out. And he just rips out these banjo parts, and he's like, what do you think? But the cool thing about that is it encourages me to be like, oh man, I love that. Or it may spurn like some cool creativity, be like, oh, I could do this, that sort of thing. And so now we have this back and forth happening. And then also, as I'm playing drums this week, I was like, okay, I better practice because, Tim's on sound. I gotta bring it. I gotta bring it for him. But that's the other thing. Like, the cool thing is, like, when you practice, it helps. I think people also want to rise to that. I'm not as good of a drummer as Tim. I'm not as good of a guitar player as Aaron. But when I'm on with them, or a singer as Megan or Jordan, like, I know that I'm not as good as them. But when being with them, it makes me want to practice. It makes me want to be better. Not only because they're doing that, because I want to rise to them, but also I truly want to give God my best. Going back to the bottom there, delight over distract. If you don't know what that is, it's really the mantra behind our whole ministry. We want to do whatever we can do for people to delight, to worship God, to delight in Him, and for us to not be a distraction, right? So when we had our huge lighting issue, it was like, okay, this is a bummer. Let's put something up there, and that's it. That's okay. We won't have lighting changes. We'll just put it up there. Pastor Landon, if he moves this way, he's dark. So let's just keep him here, That's what we do. So if singers, like, if you're having issues with that part and it comes to Sunday morning, that's why you'll hear me say, hey, just jump to melody and let's move on, right? Because I want you to be able to worship, and don't want to be a distraction to other people. It has nothing to do with like, well, you're not good enough to do it, or that sort of thing. Because sometimes I've had those moments where I've practiced, I can't get that part and sing it. I'm just not going to play it, or I'm not going to sing it, you sing it, that sort of thing. So I really want to encourage you, and band and singers, get with me. I shared it with a couple of people last week who hadn't seen maybe some of my emails about it. But if you're not using Prime as part of your practice routine, it is essential. It's how you can, singers, how you can change keys and make sure you're practicing in the key that we're doing things in. Band, it's very essential because it's a great way to to make sure you know what we're doing. So if you don't have access to that, make sure you get with me. I can help get you access to that if you have an Apple device. Stop. Tim Donnell wasn't in here, so I knew you were the next person to be like, boo, boo. Look, we all know it. And it's okay. I love you. We need each other, right? Right. Next thing I want to share. Oh yeah. So sorry, photographers. This I love. He's not here. I love, and I probably need to tell him more often. Ron Schwind might be my favorite photographer, and he needs to know it. Yes, we need to tell him. If you see Ron around, usually you'll see him on that camera right there, or maybe you'll see him happen to be shooting something around here. Tell him how awesome he is, and follow him on Instagram because he is super awesome. But anytime then I shoot things, I'm inspired. If I'm in those mode of like, I just want to get my camera back out, I'm inspired by Ron, right? And so whether you're a photographer or an artist of some kind, maybe even our ProPresenter friends, go beyond. Like, I just set it up. I don't know what I'm doing back there. I'm just like choosing colors and things. Like, go beyond our church. Go look at what other people are doing and then say, hey, like, go to Eric, go to me and say, have you ever thought about doing like this as backgrounds or this or whatever? Feel free to do that sort of thing. Those are ways that we as a group can continue to practice. I don't have many audio people in here. Listen to music. Listen to worship music. Listen to songs that we do or that we're doing the week that we're doing them, because you really get an understanding of like, oh yeah, it's a piano intro, so I need to bring that guitar down. Oh yeah, it's a female lead here. Those things, you start learning those things, and especially by listening to like live mixes from other churches, you get a sense of what other people are doing. And I know that Tim does a great job of sharing those things as well, but that's a way that you can practice on your own. You can do that anytime, all the time, when you're mowing the grass or shoveling snow, or hopefully not getting water out of your basement. Hopefully not doing that. I hope if any of you are in that boat, let me know. We can help. So next thing I want to share is calendar dates. I know I feel like I'm flying, but the trivia went way longer than I thought it was going to. But hopefully it was fun. Well, it was fun for 12 of you, but everyone else, I love you. So let me just share 2022 dates. Now, this is where I would encourage you, if you want to get your phone out, I will send these out. But if you're one of those who likes throwing on your iCal, go for it, or or a calendar, just the calendar. Yeah, right. What do you fancy people call them? Oh, calendar. Yeah. Yes. I wouldn't know. So let me just share. I'm going to share literally the rest of the year some dates to know, and again, I'll send these out. So I'm going to go quick, so don't feel like you have to rush through this. The next thing that we have on the calendar is a March. Nope, I moved that. We have nothing. So just kidding. We don't have anything in March. We were going to have a tech night, like a tech team night, all tech team night, but this got moved up like 3 weeks, so we're not going to do that. I'll get with our tech leaders about that. So moved April 10th is our Good Friday service. If you haven't been to one of those, it's essentially a night of worship, but I encourage the whole team to be here, even if, especially if you're not serving. April 15th. My iCal is all, no, this is a typing miscue. April 15th, is this correct? Everybody, sweet. I don't know why I put I know why I did that, because I plan on rehearsing on April 10th, Sunday evening. Sorry about that. And I just now realized that's what it says. There it is. So the 10th, we have a Good Friday service rehearsal. 15th, Good Friday service. I see it now. And then obviously we do have Easter Sunday services on the 17th. And I can tell you we are only doing 2 Sundays, or 2 services that Sunday. We're not doing 3, just in case that helps your mind. May 5th, a Cinco de Mayo party for all of Refiner Creative. And everybody better be here for that. I mean, it's going to be Taco Thursday. How can you not want to be a part of that? But I wanted to build in another, like, hey, just literally for community. Literally just fun. There's no other agenda than just having a Cinco de Mayo party together and just being together. June 12th is our next night of worship outside of Good Friday. So mark your calendars for that. And as we get closer, I'll be sending out, that is a Sunday night. Yes, thank you. We have our last Friday, that would have been in like October. We did a Friday night of worship. It was our smallest attended night of worship ever, including over there. That's okay. We had a person, the woman who got baptized, who gave her life to Christ, who had a couple kids, Elizabeth Riley. She got saved at that night of worship. Worth it. If 8 people were there and it was Elizabeth and my family, like, it was worth it, right? But we have felt like Sunday nights might just be a better fit. We can move it up a little bit because of school on Monday and that sort of thing. But it's also summer, so it doesn't matter. July, we don't have any extra dates. August 6th, for singers and band, we have a growth. It's called Growth Day, and Joshua Miller, who is the worship pastor at the Big Vineyard Church, he moved away. He's back. I'm super excited about that. And he is coming in. He's going to be doing some teaching on a bunch of different things. If any of you were here for the singers thing that my mom did, it'll be kind of like that. Joshua is younger. He is a crazy person. He has an Afro mohawk. I mean, he's amazing. Josh is amazing. And he's a phenomenal player. He's a phenomenal worship leader. And so we'll be doing a breakout as well. Like, he's going to do a teaching for all of us. Then we are going to do a couple of breakouts where we do singers and band and talk specifically to band and where's your role and where you fit. Singers, how you can start to learn parts and how you kind of find your part and all those things. So I'm really looking forward to that. I meet with him on March 3rd, I think, so I'll have an even better vision of what that's going to be. August 6th. September, we have no dates. October 2nd is a night of worship, and I think that is a Sunday. Okay. November, we don't have any dates as we prepare for the craziness in our ministry of Christmas time. And if you don't know, like, just for whatever reason, Christmas music is just more intricate to play and sing. But we do have our morning of worship, December 4th, like we have the last 3 years. And then, of course, we'll have Christmas Eve as well, which I'm really looking forward to. We had great services on Christmas Eve this year. So, and then the last thing I want to talk about. So that was, practice calendar dates. Those were under skill development. I will be getting with tech people. Maybe we do like a combined, my idea for like our tech, like a tech team night. Maybe we'll do a combined thing where we can find something like the singers band thing for you, and I'm sure Emily has ideas for her, but we can get together as well for like something for some of the other teams like that as well. So we want to make sure we find ways as like leadership to give you guys opportunities for growth, just like we have band and singers. It's just a little easier. Like, I feel like it's easier to find people to pour into those than it is like to find someone who's, on ProPresenter lights and stuff like that. But we will find those things out. I have not heard back from Peter, but I will soon because Demer's coming in April. And then consistency. Let me just tell you, like, practice goes under that as well. What I mean by consistency is kind of twofold. One, so I know that this week I'm not going to play drums as well as Tim. I just know that. But if I practice, I can at least play consistent. And so week to week, whether you're a singer, whether you're on stage, whether you're in tech, if you learn your craft and we continue to put time and effort into our craft and knowing these systems the best we can, then we're going to be more consistent. And the consistency just leads to a lack of distraction. That's really the way I see it. If I'll take that extra time to practice and prepare, same thing with, if I'm on soundboard, I want to make sure I want to make sure I know what I'm doing. And I have questions, I go to Tim. Like, I go to Tim if I have questions on sound stuff. And so I encourage you on the practice side, that's how we get that consistency. But also, consistency in just our serving. And we are super blessed with so many people who play and sing and run tech and can take photos and do all these great things. We also have so many people who serve in a multitude of other areas, not only in this ministry, but also, hang out with kids and also connections and things of that nature. And so it's more just like, hey, the more that I'm able and can be around and be involved in the ministry, the better. That's also not to say that I want you to be like, okay, I'm dropping everything. I'll be here every single week. Like, that's not, I can serve every week. That's, that in my heart, I want to keep people from burnout. So if you feel like you're a consistent ministry partner, that's what matters. If you're like, oh yeah, I wish I could do more, well then see if that fits in with your calendar, with your life, with your kids, with your sports and all those things, right? As our kids get older, we see how much more difficult that is. So this is more just like, I think we do awesome. Again, I love the fact that with not having as many people available some Sundays, it leads us to do some more of these acoustic sets, or maybe we only set the lights for just one scene. That's okay. That's just the reality of what it is. But if you can, then do that and let your leader know. And then the last one is just being, if you don't know me, being on time is just like a huge thing. And so it's a huge part of who I am, and sometimes it's gotten me in trouble and all those things. But do your best to be on time, not only I'm not even talking just for my sake, for your team's sake, so people aren't waiting. We all have things that, like, I woke up late, kids are crazy. Those are understandable. So don't beat yourself up about that. I just wanted to put down the main things that matter to me. Lastly, I know that we're kind of running on that time, but I want to get to any of your dreams and ideas that you brought as well. But I wanted to make sure everybody, oh yeah, I made that little slide. I want to make sure that everyone knew our leadership team. We do have a couple of new things to share. So first of all, Emily, did I get visual communications director as of right now? That is your, yeah, great. Yes. And Emily's in charge of a lot. She sent me an email, a lot more than I work with her. A lot more than I even realized. So, and a lot, like I said, with Emily, it's a lot of the behind the scenes things you don't even realize. And so, her team is awesome, and we really appreciate you. Ben is new to, so we have three people that are, so Emily is full-time. Tim and Ben are joining in a stipend capacity. I don't know you want to call them, but we'll call him that for now. But Ben is joining as our worship production coordinator. Ben is going to be just helping give direction. I know he had a meeting with Tim Donnell this week. Ben's just going to help give oversight and direction and ideas to our video and to ProPresenter, to lighting, as well as you have seen. He's a great guitar player and singer and worship leader. And so I want to make sure we still can put him in. Hi, I forgot that you moved from this. I think he left. I don't know, but want to continue to find ways to let him be in his passions as well. But I'm super excited to Ben be a part of our ministry in this capacity, as I know little to nothing about all these things that happen back here, and so I'm very excited to have somebody to help speak into that. And then Tim's been a part of the ministry for a long time, as has many of these people, but. I think this is the second or third year that Tim's on as our audio technology coordinator, really just helping to give great teaching and oversight to both our in-house and our live stream audio, and I appreciate you, buddy. Deanna's, when did you start with, like 6 months ago? Something like that? She took over for Dan Benham, and Deanna, she's like, this is the only picture I have. So it's just a where's Deanna? And you can find her. Hey, are those both corgis? Super cute. Kenley. Oh no, is it Camden? I forget. One of my children loves corgis. Or maybe it was that one. But yes, Deanna's super excited. Deanna's helping to give oversight to our lighting team. Eric is our representative leader. Eric's been a part of the team for a long time, and I don't remember how you got into this role, but I'm very, very appreciative that you got into that role. Eric helps out with a lot of other things as well, and I'm really appreciative of them and of him and his team. Tim sent me this picture, and so I used it, and that's your husband. Yeah, I know. He sent me that one, which was really funny. Tim's in charge of our video team. And very, very thankful for him. And then these are our worship leaders. Some you can see well, some you can't. But Sean and Julie, they were one of our prayer requests. Sean and Julie committed to 6 weeks at Multiply Church, which is in Gahanna, just helping them get off the ground and everything. And so be in prayer for them as they try to transition the worship back to somebody, which has not really stepped up yet. And they're supposed to be done like March 30th. So just be praying for Multiply and pray for the Biddles. Up top is Ben and Bethany, and I actually only texted Bethany, so she's going to start taking your role now, which I love. It's so great. But we'll let you still partake. Well, she will if it's her week to lead. And on the bottom, there's Kristen. Kristen is also our treasurer at the church, if you didn't know that. And she does a great job and has really flourished as a worship leader. Jordan, do you like the? Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, yep. I pulled that from Krista Ray school. You're welcome. I thought you'd enjoy that. And I went to Josh's Facebook and I was like, I don't think she wants me to pull any of these. It was either your wedding or when you're pregnant. And I was like, maybe I'll go to Krista Ray and see what I can find. Found it. Jordan is, she does, what's your new role at Krista Ray? Yeah. Choir director, getting some worship stuff, off the ground, which is awesome. And then Aaron's part of our advisory team as well. And Aaron's been a part of our ministry as well. So those are the people who, as you know, if you've been around for a while, I always say, if you're a drummer, singer, guitar player, we're all worship leaders because somebody's watching you. We don't want that, but the truth is somebody's watching us. So if we are worshiping the Lord, then hopefully they'll want to worship the Lord as well. And so these are the people you'll see. I told Landon, I want to continue to find ways to be on drums or just playing. Next week, I'm just playing guitar. Be on sound so Tim can play drums more or whatever it may be. But I want to continue to just we have so many just great leaders, and so I want to make sure that I'm not getting in the way of their growth because I think their growth is also imperative to the growth of our church. And I think that is it. Yep, that was it. So last thing I want to do, if you anytime you have to go, please go. Know that I appreciate you. Feel free to grab a snack or water or whatever on your way out. You can definitely do that. But if anyone, I wanted to just open it up. If you have, hopefully from the email either I sent you or your leader sent you, if you have any ideas, we've all over the last almost 3 years have watched a lot of services. We've watched a lot of what other people are doing, or maybe you came here from another church and have hey, have you ever thought about this? It doesn't even have to be on stage. It can be in any sort of capacity. There's no box to what this can be. But if anybody has anything, feel free to spit it out, and then we'll go. I got a dream or idea. He's a great drummer, but a pain. Gotcha. Anybody at all have anything? Is there anything that you've seen at other churches? You're man, I wonder if we've ever thought about that. Yeah, Tim or Ted. So I don't know if this fits exactly what you're saying, but kind of the June 12th and October 2nd, our night of worship would maybe fit into that, but it's a Sunday, kind of late afternoon, early evening, where we just have, just a time of, worship and through music and that sort of thing, where it's mainly just that. I realize that some of you may have not even been to one of our night of worships. It's really a longer time of musical worship, maybe some spoken word, video skits, maybe a small message from somebody like Eric or Landon or something like that. But yeah, is that what you mean, like concert-wise? Were you thinking something outside of like worship music? Oh, cool. Yeah. 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 Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Another thing that I'll just go ahead and throw up here um, is the teens want to have another jam sesh, and if you don't know what that is, that was like a teen semi-concert, semi-night of worship where like the teens, we use as many teens as possible. It was all teen singers, and then I think that was it. Maybe Olivia played keys, I think, maybe something like that. But they do want to have another one of those here soon. Anybody else? Any? Yeah. Yeah. So this kind of I'm gonna this is more for me. I'm gonna label this a team night. Um, the reason I say that is because I have a couple friends from other churches who do something like that, where they will just like everybody can bring an instrument or whatever. It makes it a little odd when you're like, who gets to play drums this time or whatever. But really, just like a time. Or the other thing that some of my other friends have done is they've opened up a space, either like space like this or like the Harnack Center, grab like 2 acoustics and stuff, and just like have some time where we just be able to sing some songs that, like, hey, what's on your heart or whatever, and share like really as a whole team, like what God's doing in our lives, maybe a devotional sort of thing. But really like a night of worship stripped down for just us. Is that kind of what you're saying too? Yes. So that is I've had that idea, and we've tried a couple things like that, but I love, kind of. But yes, I love that. I love that. Anything else? Uh, yeah. 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 So just people sharing their story in video? Okay, so we had some, yeah, I know, right. So this is something that so I'll just put, yeah, exactly. So we did this, we've done it a few times, like 4 times, story videos. That's something if anyone is interested in being like, yeah, like I can help set up for like these video shoots, or I can help edit or help find people and help get them information. That's something that Landon and I have talked a lot about. Emily's been a big part of those as well. So yeah, if you are interested in helping with something like that, we would love, because one, it's like finding people who want to share a story, and then two, just like setting up times to like, and then setting up video equipment and things like that. But I love that, because that's like, it's from our testimony. That's how people hear about, because like people in your life group will hear what's happening, but this gives people a stage to share that, which we can share obviously on a Sunday morning. We can share on social media, things like that, which is really cool. Yeah, I love that. That's great. I do still have like a dream of continuing to do like our own music. Sometimes I just forget about it. Like we've written a couple of songs in house. I just literally forget about it, and so that's kind of on me as well. But I would love to continue to write and do more songs in house. So if you personally just like, I just have these random poems, or you can put to music if you want, or like, hey, I'd love to just get together and see what this is like. We can definitely do that. So, yeah, sometimes it just takes a couple people to be like, yeah, let's make this happen, that sort of thing. Anybody else? Anything else? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, and that's true. You know, I had a song that I wrote that's on my EP that I put out is like the chorus to this song. I don't even remember what it's called. I don't know what the words are right now either. But I did write it, and I did record it. But uh, in it, how I got the chorus was I was leading worship at a church in Cleveland, and I just started singing these lyrics because we were just like sitting in this like 1/4 transition. And I just started singing these lyrics, and I was like, oh man, I gotta write those down, and turned into a song. I later put like lyrics to a verse and bridge to it, and so that's what it is. It's just spending time together and doing that sort of thing. Where are you going? No, I'm just kidding. Have fun. Goodbye. Yeah. Yeah, right. I was just trying to fit them in right at the end. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I bet that is true. I love that, and that's kind of my whole point too. Of like going back to like some like I know it's hard for me to maybe articulate the raw, like especially if you're not a musician or singer, like the raw piece of our worship is just like spending time where, and I've done this before. It's not like something I haven't done. We've spent time where I just kind of we sit on something, and one of our worship leaders or me like we'll just kind of begin to pray, like sing a prayer, like something that repeats. Some of those things like you just have to spend time. To actually make them into a song or whatever, but yeah. Anybody else? Emily? Oh. Um, yes, thank you. One of these, I don't know if we'll be able to see it or not. In one of these pictures, oh, I didn't use it. No, it's that one. I took this picture with my iPhone, the top right one, and that's so I think this was like when Brad decided he was going to go on sabbatical or something like that, or maybe it was when he stepped down. I don't know, but what's that? But before that, so that was just like it was just a moment. I was on stage and I was just like, I'm unashamed to just grab my phone and just take a picture of what I'm seeing. I've heard Emily say this before, but everyone can be a photographer, especially since we all have great cellular devices. All of us have great cellular devices, and so essentially what Emily will be setting up is just this opportunity. Like if you're on ProPresenter and you see it, just unashamed, especially from the back where people aren't, it's not their faces or whatever, snag a photo and throw it on there. Like it's a way that Emily and her team can share a small story of what God's doing in a moment, or we can use it on social media or on the website to just share like this is just real life what God's doing. And so if you may, I've done this where I've taken a couple pictures and sent to Emily. I'm like, this may be horrible. I don't know. And she's like, no, thanks. Yeah. Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So yes, don't feel ashamed if you see a moment, man. Capture a moment because you never know how that moment could be impactful for somebody else. So just feel free. How would we gain access to something like that? as a whole? Okay. Great. Okay, cool. Great. Sweet. Anybody else? Yes. Yes. Cool. Yes. Yes, we are. Yeah, thank you, Christina. We are, because we've had many people in the medical field, our first responder type people, like, I think of Stephen, who had said, like, yeah, please keep doing this. Like, Sundays I'm not on, I get to watch. I saw the Knoxes on their way back from many volleyball tournaments around the globe. Yeah, what? Set up the phone right on the right in the vehicle, and yeah, it is. It's really neat, and I can't tell like our video and our audio team enough. Just like we've had tons of issues over the last year, especially, and it's been frustrating for them, but I think it's been less frustrating for the majority of other people. We're trying to do our best to continue to even make the quality of what we're doing the best. Like we have no delusions of grandeur that we're ever going to be like Hillsong or even Rock City. Like that they have multiple campuses or a global reach, right? We're not going to try to be that. You'd be shocked at how much a video camera costs that is like a 4K or 8K quality or 6K quality. It's insane, right? That's great for whomever is doing that. We won't be that, but we will continue to do. I have a meeting. Ben and I have a meeting March 1st with the guy who's going to help give us some direction on what we can do to upgrade what we have with under a budget. So we're really excited about that. So if you're a part of those teams, thank you so much. Hopefully from myself and others you've heard. But yeah, it's cool to hear that. But yeah, you can tell anybody like, no, it's not going away. Yep. Not even. Sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. From this Sunday? Yeah. 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 That's awesome. Yep. No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it is. It is. I hope you guys all know, no matter where you fall, you may just like I feel like it'd be easy for somebody in like Eric's ministry to be like, I just like I just run slides. I just like push a button or I just click a thing. But it's so much more than that, because not only are you not only helping those in here be able to see and sing or read or whatever it may be, but now it's going out to people who can't be in service. Also, it's going out to people who are checking out our church, which is really, really cool. And that shouldn't be anything for us to get nervous about. God's just going to continue to use what we're doing. If we just stay humble and submitted and just do our best with what we have, and that comes back to, that's why we practice on Thursdays. That's why we encourage you guys to practice and continue to work on our skills and gifts that God's given us. It's so that he can just take it and make it so much more. I mean, how many times have we been like, I don't know if you, like I've had these moments where I'm like, I couldn't have sung any worse. And people are like, you and your team, whoo. And I'm like, well, he put the Holy Spirit filter on because it was like a Holy Spirit auto-tune or something, yeah. Because I heard what I did, and it wasn't great. It felt more of a distraction than a delight. Make a joyful noise, right? And we've all been there. Maybe you've been like, that was a horrible picture, or I kept going to the slides too late, or whatever it may be. We've all been there. So I hope that, like, never beat yourself up about messing up that sort of thing. We are all human. Tim isn't here, but maybe he's messed up. I don't know. Yeah. Tim is our scapegoat because he is such a great drummer. So we just, yeah. Anybody else before we say goodbye? And if you get home, you're like, I just didn't feel like saying something, or, oh yeah, I forgot. Feel free to email me. Just let me know. Add it to the list, and then I'll send an email out to everybody. Because truly, I'm not going to go over it tonight, but truly, we can't make these things just happen on, just between Emily and I, or just between, the leadership team. Like, we truly need others to help. And if it does, if you're like, well, hey, I can help out the newsletter, but that means I can't run slides, or whatever. I don't know why that would be the case, but yeah. That's up to you to choose, where you want to serve. Okay. I love and appreciate you guys. We love being a part of this church and part of this ministry, and I look forward to. I was telling Landon, because he was like, with Trisha stepping down, with Jen stepping down, he's like, listen, don't you dare. And I had some people text me like, so are you the next shoe to drop? I was like, no. And how cool that Jen and Trisha they're still part of our church and part of our ministry. God just opened up some new doors for them. But yeah, I'm super excited to just continue to invest in this place that invests in my family. And I look forward to growing together, because I really think that I always say that the kids ministry is my most passionate ministry in the church as a church goer. I love our worship time, when I'm just here and stuff, but my kids mean so much to me, right? So I love that. But there are many people, Ted, you were one, right? You're like, I love the worship time and that sort, and that's how Ted and I first met and got connected. So there are many people who appreciate that, or they were drawn in from a picture that was taken, or they were drawn in from a story that was given, or they were drawn in because of God, laying on their heart to watch a live stream. What we are doing matters so much more than we realize. Let's just help each other to just stay humbled in that, because it's easy to get nervous about it. Or it's easy to get maybe an inflated head about it. But one thing that I've always told everyone that I come in contact with, that has anything to do with worship ministry, is I've never been part of a larger, I've never been part of a team so large that stays so humble yet is so gifted and talented. I've been a part of a couple of big churches, and they use less people than we do in all of these teams. Or they're super talented, so they use less people, and it kind of puts this barrier between them and the rest of the church. I love that we've not had those sort of issues. It's a cool thing that is a part of our ministry, and it's a cool thing to just show how God is using, and we all have our flaws, right? But it's a cool way to see that God's using each one of us to help each other. And so let's continue to grow together. Yes. Yeah. You can. Okay. Wait, your half idea is for you to sing? Is that what you said? Oh, okay. Interesting. So this is like a training beyond our ministry sort of thing. Uh-oh. So, if you are listening to this, if you're listening to this and can't hear what everybody else is saying, is that having a training beyond just our ministry, training beyond just what you normally see on stage or whatever. And then Jordan said, so we need a choir. And so one of the reasons, I will say, a couple of things. The reason we got rid of the bars and did what we did, one was to change, two was to make space. That was the main thing. We wanted to make space to be able to, the next thing we're going to do in April is this screen is actually going to go up and go back, and the cross is going to go back. And our whole purpose is making some more room so that we can have I don't think we're going to be able to do it for Easter Sunday, but I would love to incorporate more, because we do have people who are like, hey, I don't want to sing in a microphone, but I would sing with 15 other people or whatever, right? Okay, great. That's awesome. So if only we had like a choir teacher or someone, oh yeah. Where's that picture? Where's that picture, that Krista Ray picture at? Yeah. There it is. Yes. Yeah. That's great. No, that's super awesome. And so we'll see if anyone says like, hey, I'd like to do some of that. We'll see. We have met it I know like Eric's has been part of like a small choir we did over there before. And yeah, it's great. Okay. I'm going to land the plane now. And if you have other things, you can come up and tell me. Father, we thank you for your goodness and your grace, for your mercy. I am so thankful for this team. I'm thankful for everyone who took time out of their night to come and to hear, to dream, to look ahead, to be really just hopefully captured by this idea that we are, we're just trying to be worshipers of Jesus. And in whatever role that we play, no matter how seen or unseen it is, we are all just trying to be worshipers of you because we love you and we want to worship you with our whole life. And so whether that looks like on stage on a Sunday morning or whether it looks like helping to shoot a video on a Wednesday afternoon, we just want to stay submitted to you and do all we can to help others be worshipers of Jesus. Help us to continue to stay humbly submitted to you in every possible way, whether we're in this building or whether we're outside this building at work or going to the grocery store. God, help us to worship you in all that we do and to point others to do the same. Keep us safe as we go from this place. I pray also now for Madison, who is in the hospital. And you know all the ins and outs of what's coming up for her and what she's been going through. I pray, God, you'd help the doctors to know exactly next steps so she can get home. And we also pray for the Biddles. I'm so thankful for their heart for ministry, going to help Multiply Church out for 6 months. And now as they begin to transition back, God, I pray that you would help, that you would speak to someone to rise up and want to help be that key leader to continue to help worship through music happen at Multiply beyond April when they move on. God, we love you. We praise you for all these things and more, and we're excited to come back together on Sunday and worship you. Amen. Goodbye, everybody, including camera people watching.